Earth Yoga for Everybody, presenting a lesson on yoga for beginners. So the videos in this, or the poses in this video will be just a very beginner level Hatha Yoga practice that requires no prior experience. Okay, so I'll try to demonstrate all possible modifications for all body types, but please keep in mind that there are many modifications that I probably won't have time to cover, so be sure to check out my other videos on my YouTube channel where I break down the poses individually and offer all modifications. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and just get started standing today. So standing in the mountain pose, let's first check in with our alignment. So make sure those feet are below the knees, knees below the hips, hips below the shoulders, and the shoulders are down and away from the ears. Okay, we'll raise the crown of the head up to the sky and sink the bottom of the feet down into the earth. You could even spread the toes wide to expand your base, cover more surface area on the earth or on the mat. Okay, a little bend in the knees, contract the muscles of the legs, push them down, contract or pull in the belly so the pelvis is nice and flat, the back is flat. Okay, shoulders down away from the ears. You could also turn the palms open, spread the fingers, reach the fingers down towards the earth to engage more muscles in the arms, contract the biceps and the triceps. Okay, just to kind of get those muscles activated. Then from here, we'll establish a deep belly breathing pattern. So with every inhale of the breath, we're originating from the belly. So we'll move the breath from the belly up into the chest, and then release from the belly, and then from the chest. Okay, we keep the lips closed in yoga, but we want the jaw to be open, the tongue to be relaxed in the back of the throat, so we can really open up that airway and allow as much fresh oxygen into the body as possible. Okay, so it'll kind of sound like when you try to fog a glass. Okay, it comes from the back of the throat, so, but of course the lips will be closed. So just taking probably 5 to 10 breaths, however long it takes, to really establish that deep belly breathing pattern, really starting to relax the muscles, calm the mind down, and prepare the body for movement. Okay, so after 5 to 10 deep belly breaths, we can start to then add some movement to our breathing pattern. Let's first just do some pelvic circles to help loosen up the hips and engage that spine. So with the feet hip width apart, we'll go ahead and inhale, turn the hips. I always start to the left. So inhale, circle the hips to the left, back, and around to the right, and forward. Okay, so actually we're exhaling as the hips come back and around, inhaling as they come forward and around. Okay. So inhaling and exhaling. And after a few circles, we might want to switch sides. So rotate those hips in the opposite direction now for a few breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. And after 3 to 5 breaths on each side, we can then do a standing cat and cow to further warm up the spine and the hips. So let me go ahead and turn to the side so you can see the inhale of the breath. We're tilting the chest up and arching those hips back for standing cow, and then exhaling standing cat, we'll reverse that motion. So we will expand the shoulder blades and sink the pelvis in to stretch out that spine. So inhaling, opening up, and then exhaling, sinking in. Okay, so 3 to 5 breaths here in standing cat-cow. And then from here, let's go ahead and what do I have us doing next? the lateral flexion. So let's just go ahead and reach the arms up and inhale the breath, and then exhale, and bring one hand down, and my right arm down, my left arm up. If you want to mirror me, you'll have your right arm up and your left arm down. Okay, for this lateral flexion, we will reach up with the left fingertips, right, if you're mirroring me, and then the opposite hand will reach down towards the earth, okay? And so we're pulling the body in two opposite directions, towards the sky and the earth, and then we're holding ourselves together by contracting the core muscles, okay? So draw the navel to the spine, engage those internal organs and muscles, and all help to keep that body in alignment. Okay? We could turn the head to look up, or we could turn the head to look down, whatever feels best. And after 3 to 5 breaths, we'll switch sides. So go ahead and next inhale, bring both arms up to the sky, and then exhaling, bring the opposite arm down, and reaching that other arm up. 3 to 5 deep breaths. Of course, engaging the core, still moving that breath from the belly first, and then up into the chest. Strengthening the diaphragm with each breath. And then after 3 to 5 breaths here, we can go ahead and inhale, bring the arms up, and then exhale. Let's go ahead and bring it to the chair pose. So for chair pose, let me turn to the side so you can see. It looks like we're reaching for a chair, which is a little too far behind us. So the glute is back, not forward. So if you notice that those knees are covering up the toes, sink the glute back as if you're reaching towards the chair. That's just a little out of reach. Okay? And you actually will get a little more support here by pushing down into the earth through the heels of the feet. Okay? And those arms can come straight forward like I have them. Palms facing together, shoulder width apart. Or you can bring them to the heart center. Okay? 3 to 5 breaths. Or if you're feeling like more of a challenge, you can bring the arms up. Of course, with the arms up, you will be increasing the heart rate, burning a little more calories. Okay? So pick whichever option feels best. 3 to 5 breaths. And then from here, we can go ahead and flatten out the back, bring the arms to the side. Straightening the knees so there's just a little bend in the knees. Bringing the upper body parallel to the floor. This is called airplane pose. Okay, so we're reaching back with the hands, palms face each other. Actively engaging the muscles of the core to prevent that back from rounding. We want that back to be nice and flat here. 3 to 5 breaths here. And then we can slowly come up on the exhale of the breath and then come into a chest expansion. So pulling the pelvis in, so you have a nice flat back, reaching the arms back towards the floor. Okay, palms face each other. We could also, as another option, bring the hands to the small of the back, fingertips face up. Okay, this helps open the chest a little more. We're looking up towards the corner of the room. Okay, and the final option / variation is to interlace the fingers, thumbs facing up. Okay, this will open up that chest even more. Okay, so pick whichever version of the chest expansion feels best, and we'll hold it for 3 to 5 breaths. And how about on the next inhale, we can bring the arms up over the head, and then exhale all the way to downward facing dog. Okay, so for downward facing dog, the feet will be hip width apart, shoulders, or hands are shoulder width apart, head and neck nice and loose. And nice deep breaths here. 3 to 5 breaths. How about before we start our sun salutation, we'll go ahead and bring it down to the child's pose. For child's pose, we can sit on the heels of the feet, or we could sit on a blanket and bring a block under the forehead to elevate the level of the floor. Okay, so we're reaching the arms forward, stretching the muscles of that spine, especially that lower back. 3 to 5 breaths here, and then we can start warming up a little more with the yoga push-ups. So, what that looks like is on the inhale, the breath will come up to all fours. Holding the breath, we'll shift forward to this modified plank position. Exhaling down, elbows in. Inhaling up. And then exhaling down. Just essentially just a tricep push-up. Okay, it's the safest for the muscles and the joints to keep the elbows in as we exhale, isolating that tricep muscle. Exhaling down. So, depending on how strong you're feeling today, go ahead and let that determine how many sets of push-ups you do. I do anywhere from 3 to 30. So, whenever you're feeling like you've had enough of the push-ups, go ahead and bring it down to the prone position, and we'll hang out in this cobra pose for a few breaths, working our way slowly back up to downward facing dog. Okay, so for cover, the shoulders are down, the hands are just rested by the chest, elbows are in. The head looks on the mat, well, a couple inches in front of the mat on the floor. The lower body is pressing down into the earth to help take pressure off the spine. And then if this feels good, we could transition to upward facing dog on the next exhale of the breath. Well, after 3 to 5 breaths in cobra. Okay, so notice how the pelvis stays down, chest is up, shoulders are down, chest is open. The head looks to the corner of the ceiling. And then the lower body is engaged as well. So we don't want the legs to be just rested on the earth. We want them to be contracted and hovering just an inch or two above the mat. Okay? So we're balancing our weight between the two hands, spreading the fingers nice and wide, and the tops of both feet. Okay? So 3 to 5 breaths, and then on the next inhale, we can curl the toes under, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Okay, so again, feet hip width apart. Those heels are going to be up off the mat, reaching towards the mat for a nice stretch. The entire lower body. Hands are shoulder width apart, and the head and neck just hang out nice and loose in between the shoulder blades. And from here, whenever you're ready, 3 to 5 breaths. Go ahead and look at the hands on the inhale of the breath. Exhale, walk to the front of the mat, and then we can hang out in forward fold. Okay, so now lots of options for forward fold. First of all, we can put a deep bend in the knees if that feels good. Or we can elevate the level of the floor with a couple blocks or a chair, the seat of a chair. Okay, we at least want a little bend in the knees. Another option, my favorite variation, is to grab opposite elbows and just kind of cradle that head. Kind of helps to open the shoulder blades a little more. And after 3 to 5 breaths, we can slowly start to roll up standing on the exhale of the breath. Bringing the arms out and around, up on the inhale, and then exhaling back to center. Okay? So now we can begin our sun salutation. Sun salutation, really, you can determine the pace at which you practice it. I'll take you through step-by-step, progressive manner where we don't hold for very long, hold the poses for very long. But please keep in mind that this is your practice. You can adhere it to your body's needs. So if you're feeling really good in one of the poses, like downward facing dog, and you want to hold it for 5, 6, 7 breaths, please do that. Okay, you don't necessarily have to go right into the next pose right away if you're not feeling it. Okay, so with that in mind, let me just show you what sun salutation will look like, and then after a while you can personalize it more to your body's needs. Okay, so let's start just by inhaling, bringing the arms up over the head, And then exhaling to take a swan dive, hinging at the hips, down to forward fold. Again, always feeling free to elevate the level of the floor. Inhale to monkey, kind of similar to airplane in that the upper body is parallel to the floor. This time our fingertips will just rest on the shins. Okay, and then exhaling, bending the knees and bringing it to downward facing dog. Full breath here. Next inhale, bring it to a plank position, but please feel free to drop the knees like we did in our warm-up if that feels better. Okay, exhaling down through crocodile. Hold on, I gotta move my blocks here. Elbows in. Inhaling either to cobra or upward facing dog. Curling the toes and exhaling to downward facing dog. Full breath. Now from here we can inhale and turn the head to look in between the hands. And then exhale, you can bring the right foot forward. And please keep in mind that you might have to start by assisting in bringing that leg up between the hands. Okay? Extending the back leg. You can kind of play around with the distance between those feet. Obviously, the further apart the feet are, the more challenging it's going to be for the flexibility and balance. Okay, coming up onto the fingertips on the inhale of the breath, and then on the exhale, we can push up through the heel of that front foot. Okay, a bit more support from the heel, and bringing that upper body up. Keep those arms in the prayer position. We can bring them up above the head for to increase that heart rate. And we do have that option of lowering the back knee. Okay, if it gets to be a little too much for the ankle. Notice how I do, sometimes I cheat. I like to practice against the wall, just in case I'm ever feeling unstable, we put a hand on the wall. Okay, you could also, if you don't have an empty wall available, keep a chair nearby. Okay, and always have that available in case you're feeling unsteady, because these poses are very challenging. Okay, so, I don't know, kind of just spend 1 or 2 breaths here, however long you feel necessary. If it feels really good, you can hold it for a little longer, 3 to 5 breaths. And then if you want to try taking the twist, what we can do is first inhale and turn towards the bent knee, okay, and then exhale, bring that knee down, or that elbow down, just above the knee joint, okay. And then finally, we can turn the head to look up above the top elbow. Engaging the core to help take pressure off the spine. And then on the next inhale, we can slowly come up, untwisting, and then exhaling down, all the way back to downward facing dog for a full breath. Inhaling, look at the hands. Exhale, we can either walk to the front of the mat, or if we're feeling stronger, we can jump to forward fold for a full breath. Again, always keeping in mind that we can elevate the level of the floor and bend the knees. Okay, inhaling to monkey, nice flat back. Exhaling back to forward fold, and then inhaling reverse swan dive, hinging at the hips all the way back up, and exhaling to prayer. Okay, now I'll show you what that looks like on the other side. Whenever we practice these sun salutations, you want to do an even number. So you want to do at least 2. If you want to do more, then you'll have to do 4. Okay, so you're evenly balancing and strengthening the right and the left side of the body. Okay? So this time we'll be bringing our left foot forward. So maybe what I'll do is, I'll turn this way so you guys can see a little better. So, inhaling, bringing the arms up. Exhaling, swan dive to forward fold. Inhaling, monkey. And exhaling to down dog. Full breath here. Next inhale, come to that plank position, top of a push-up, always feeling free to drop the knees. Okay. Exhaling down through crocodile. Inhaling either to cobra or upward facing dog. Curling the toes, exhaling a downward facing dog for a full breath. Next inhale, we'll look at the hands, and then exhale, bring that left foot forward again, keeping in mind that we may need to assist that foot to get it up in between the hands so the ankle is below the knee. Okay, and then experimenting with the distance between the feet. The back heel, notice, is up off the mat. Inhaling, coming up onto the fingertips. Exhaling, pushing through that front heel to help bring the upper body up. And of course, you can keep in mind that you can have that wall or the seat of a chair nearby for assistance in getting up into the pose. Okay? And again, arms we can keep by the heart center. We can bring them up for a little more of a challenge. And we can always drop this back knee for a low lunge too. But for demonstration purposes, let me show you what it looks like for a full twisting lunge. So if you want to take that twist, of course you don't have to, but if you want to, inhale, start twisting towards that bent knee, okay? And then exhaling, bring the elbow above the knee, not directly on the knee, okay? And the final step is to turn the head to look up above the top elbow. Deep breath, always engaging the core to help protect that spine. Inhaling, untwist. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Full breath. Next inhale, look at the hands. Exhale, walk or jump to the front of the mat to forward fold. Again, feeling free to elevate the level of the floor with the chair. Inhaling monkey, exhaling forward fold, inhale, reverse swan dive all the way back up, standing mountain, and exhaling prayer. Okay, so that's your sun salutation again. Always feeling free to do it 4 times or 6 times or 10 times, however long you feel necessary. Burning a lot of calories here with these sun salutations. This is the bulk of our work section of our practice. So from here, let's go ahead and let's do a balancing pose. So I've chosen the eagle pose for us beginners, but there's a plethora of other beginning poses that we can add into our practice later on. Again, please consult my YouTube channel for more options. I have all the poses individually demonstrated. So for the purpose of this video, let me show you the eagle pose. So for eagle pose, first let me show you the arms. I'm going to start by making an X. Okay, my right arm on top and my left arm on the bottom. Then we'll put a bend in the elbows to make a V. Okay, and then we bring the bottoms or the backs of the hands together. Okay, but if this is not possible, we could use a strap to help assist us. So, for the strap, let's see here. You want to hold it in both arms. So, what you can do is just hold on to the strap, okay? Let me show you what that looks like. If you don't have the yoga strap, you can do what I'm doing, just use a scarf or a tie, okay? And also, if you don't want to use a prop, you could just hold the shoulder, like so. Okay, so what you're stretching is that area in between the shoulder blades. Okay? Then for the legs, what we can do is, since I have my right arm on top, we're going to want to balance on the left foot. So, first just come to the toes, bring the tips of the toes up so you're beginning to balance on that left leg. Put a bend into the knee, and then draw that right leg on top of the left. Okay? And if this feels good and you want to try coming to the full extent of the pose, let me show you what that looks like. Hooking the ankle around the left calf. So, and this actually is very taxing on the knees. So unless the hips are very open, it might put too much pressure on the knees. So you might just want to start just with crossing the knee, okay? If that feels good, then don't push it any further, okay? Don't want to cause any pain here in yoga. Okay, so 3 to 5 breaths, shake it out, and try it on the other side next. So this time we will have the left arm on top for our X. Bring it up to a V, bring the bottoms of the hands together, or of course use that strap to help assist, or we could just hold that elbow in front of the chest. And then we'll start to bring the left toe up, bouncing on the right leg. Stacking and then hooking. Okay, but again, if that last step, if that hook of the ankle does not feel good, then don't do it. Okay? 3 to 5 breaths. Slowly coming out of the pose on the exhale of the breath, and then shaking it out. Okay? So then, let's start to come down. We can make our way slowly down. First, with a double back bend, I have this partner pose for us here in beginning yoga, just because even if we don't have a partner to help assist in a double back bend, what we can do is position ourselves in a doorway, any doorway. They're regulated to be a certain size. So position yourself so that you can step up away from the doorway and grab hold of either side of the entryway, the wall, and then just open up. Okay. So I'm sorry I don't have a doorway to show exactly, but you can imagine a doorway would be behind me, and I would have my hands on either side, and then I would just open up. And use a little bit of pressure to help open that chest more, with the hands against the wall, but we don't want to be forcing the body into any position that doesn't feel good, okay? So working again within your own body limits is what's most important. It will help you grow most in yoga. It's just learning how to adhere that practice to what's best for you, okay? So then we can work it down to the floor slowly. First, well, I did pick out the dolphin pose for you guys, so let me show you the dolphin pose to help slowly work us down onto the mat. Let's go ahead and inhale up, exhale down. We'll bring the hands and knees to the mat. We'll come onto the forearms, okay? To check the forearms by grabbing the elbows, okay, because we want those elbows to be shoulder width apart. Then flatten the forearms, palms facing down, curl the toes under on the inhale of the breath, and then exhale, lifting the knees up. And allowing that head and neck to hover in between the shoulder blades. Okay? Now, if this does not feel good, we could just practice downward facing dog. Okay? Again, we're just starting to slowly work our way down to a seated position. So, let's see. Let's hold it for 5 to 7 breaths. And then when you're ready to come out of it, do so on the exhale of the breath. Dropping the knees, swinging the feet around. And then we can come into the butterfly pose. So, for the butterfly pose, we can either be seated on the mat, or we can elevate the level of the floor and bring the hips up more in alignment with the knees by using a pillow or a blanket under the glute. Okay, and then from here, we'll bring the bottoms of the feet together. Now, see, traditionally a lot of people like to try and bring the feet as close to the body as possible. Okay, but what this is doing is it's throwing the body out of alignment. It's putting a lot of pressure on those knees. Okay, so this is going to cause the body a lot of harm in the long run. So let's just strive for keeping those ankles in alignment with the knees, okay? And then, for even further assistance, take a little pressure off the inner thighs with some sticks and blocks, or blankets, or rolled up towels, or pillows under the knees for support. Then we can keep the hands on the lap, or we can bring the hands up over the head, And then exhale and hinge forward. Okay, this will just help us gain a little more flexibility in the pose. Okay. And then as you hold the pose, you might find that you can draw the knees closer towards the floor, but not with the hands, with the strength of your own body. So those inner thighs and those glutes will help to draw the knees closer towards the floor, okay? Then to protect the spine, we want to keep the back nice and flat, so the chest will be open. We don't want to round those shoulder blades, okay? But instead we keep the chest open. And as we hinge forward to deepen the stretch, think of it more as hinging at a lever. That those hips will be our lever, okay? So instead of trying to draw the chest and feet, it's more of trying to draw the belly towards the feet, okay? So 5 to 7 breaths here, and then when you're ready to come out of the pose, do so slowly on the exhale of the breath. Let's go ahead and then bring the feet around and work our way down onto the mat. I'm going to keep my props over there. And the safest way to roll down into the mat is to first grab a hold of the thigh. Okay, and use the thigh to push against the hands to help slowly roll one vertebrae at a time all the way down onto the mat. Okay, we can bring both knees into the chest, hip width apart. Placing the hands on the thighs or just down on the mat. Okay, never pressing on the knees. Again, it's a very sensitive joint. We want to protect it. So from here, 5 to 7 breaths. If you want, you can add in a little rocking motion. Just gently rock from side to side. Get a little bit of a massage for that low back. And then we can start to stretch that lower body. So, let's go ahead and on the next exhale of the breath, drop the left leg to the mat or just the foot. Okay, and then on the next exhale, we can then extend that top arm or leg. We could also use a strap. So, positioning a strap between the heel and the ball of the foot, exhaling, extending out. And again, as we hold the pose, we may find that we can progress deeper into the pose, okay? And this will always come on the exhale of the breath, because it's with the exhale of the breath that the brain sends a signal to the muscles that allows them to relax a little more, okay? So, if you find that on the exhale of the breath you can progress a little deeper into the pose, go ahead and do so. If not, just hang out and enjoy the stretch. You could roll the ankle, you could point and flex, you can wiggle the toes. And of course, just follow the breath with your awareness. So notice the breath's rhythm and quality as you hold these poses for, I would say, 5 to 7 breaths. And then when you're ready to switch, do so on the exhale of the breath, bringing both knees back into the chest. Maybe take a breath or two to rock back and forth. And then on your next exhale, you can go ahead and switch legs, so bringing that opposite leg to the mat, or of course just the foot to the mat if that feels better. The back is flat against the earth. And we can use that strap again to help assist here. And I forgot to mention earlier, but we want to hold the strap down by the belly. Okay, a lot of people will try to force the leg and pull on the strap. But we don't want to cause any extra tension here in yoga. We want those shoulders to be nice and relaxed, down and away from the ears. So to do that, we keep those hands by the belly. Okay? And then, of course, if we can progress further in the pose, we do so in the exhale of the breath. Okay? 5 to 7 deep breaths, and then when you're ready to come out of the pose, do so on the exhale of the breath. Bringing the knees into the chest, and now from here we can go ahead and try a supine spinal twist. So, let's go ahead and, I guess the easiest way to do this would be kind of the same movement that we, it's really just a different progression from this pose. what we're going to do is we're going to draw that leg across the body. Okay, so first, let me say first of all that we should lift and shift the hips to the right. Okay, bring that right leg up, draw it across the body, and then we can just keep that knee bent. So, I'm resting the knee on a pillow. You could also use a blanket or a rolled up towel. And then notice how I'm lifting and shifting the shoulders too. So I'm making sure that that chest is open to the sky. Okay? Lifting and shifting the hips. Make sure that the hips stayed in alignment with the shoulders. Okay? Alignment's very important here. We don't want to put our body out of alignment. We want to strengthen the body by keeping it in alignment. And the final step for this pose is to turn the head to look away from the bent knee. 5 to 7 breaths here. And when you're ready to come out of the pose, do so on the exhale of the breath, nice and slowly. Let's just bring both knees back into the chest. And then we can go ahead and switch. So the left leg will be up now. Of course, first, we want to lift and shift those hips now to the left side. Drawing that knee across the body. And then planting the knee on the pillow. Okay. Lifting and shifting the shoulders so the chest is open in the sky. And then the arms are going to be, well, they should be straight out. I'm running out of room here. But the arms should be out in a T, palms facing up or down. And then finally, you can turn the head to look away from the body, or away from the bent knee. 5 to 7 deep breaths here. Always breathing from the belly first. And when we're ready to come out of the pose, we do so on the exhale, the breath nice and slowly. I threw in an inversion pose for us because there's so many benefits that come from even just keeping the legs straight up. Okay? So bringing the legs up, perpendicular to the floor, arms rested on the side of the body. 7 to 9 breaths for this pose. We could also practice against the wall. So lining up the glute against the wall. Takes a little pressure off the abdominal muscles so we can relax a little more. And the reason why we're holding this pose for so long is just because we won't get the benefits that come from an inversion unless we hold it long enough to reverse the blood flow, okay, and get fresh oxygen to the brain. So after 7 to 9 breaths, we can then slowly work our way down to the reclining queen pose. This will be our last pose before final relaxation. So for reclining queen, well, it's essentially a reclining butterfly pose. So we could use the same props here. We could first of all elevate the level of the floor with a pillow or a blanket and rest the feet on those. Okay, and then we could put 2 blocks or blankets or roll up towels under the knees to help take a little pressure off the inner thighs. Okay. If we don't want to use any props, if we're feeling more flexible, or as we progress in this pose, it's just going to look a little different because the lower back is going to be arched. Okay, so if this causes pain, elevate the ankles with that blanket or pillow so then you can flatten that spine. Okay, so choose whichever option feels best for your body. And then we can open up the chest by putting a bend into the elbows, palms in the hands face the sky. Chest is open, shoulders are down, jaws relaxed, the tongue is dropped to the back of the throat. And we can hold it here for 7 to 9 deep breaths. And whenever we're ready to come into Savasana for final relaxation, meditation, we could either come down to the corpse pose, where the arms and legs lay flat to the earth, feet flop out to the side, fingers gently curl in towards the palms of the hands. But there is a tendency to fall asleep, and we really won't get the benefits of meditation unless we stay awake. So, if you're like me and you have that tendency to fall asleep, you may want to come up to a seated position for your meditation sequence. Okay? And your meditation sequence, it's going to vary. So, pick a mantra, a word, or a phrase that has meaning towards you. So, I always use the same mantra, same series of words. I focus my meditation on peace, love, health, wealth, and knowledge. Okay, so essentially you're just choosing words or phrases that inspire you and help you strive towards equanimity and homeostasis and just that balance, that zen. Okay, so as you breathe in your meditation, you want to let each breath be a reminder of that love, of that peace, of whatever it is that you want to draw more of into your life. Okay? So, meditate for as long as you want, as long as you have time for. I always say, if you only have 20 minutes, then that's great. If you don't have 20 minutes, then you should probably practice for an hour. Okay? Because you'll learn that with time, with meditation really is a personal battle between the conscious and the subconscious mind. So the longer you're meditating, the more you'll benefit from it, and then you can just kind of play with it as days go by. And again, I have lots more tips, lots more breathing exercises, lots more chair modification, variations to these poses. So please check out my other demonstration videos on my YouTube channel and contact me on my website anytime. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for practicing with me. Namaste.